The administrator for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Dr. Oz, is putting governors on the clock to clean up the fraud in their states.
Governors, I'm calling on you to act now. Fraudsters and other bad actors are draining Medicaid funds. Within 10 business days, the American people need to know, will you move forward with making sure that providers are revalidated and can be trusted with the care of our most vulnerable citizens? And in 30 days, they need to know what's your timeline and what's your scope.
So will governors step up and protect Medicaid in their states? Let's bring in Senator John Fetterman. Senator Fetterman, always great to see you. I know Dr. Oz was your former opponent. You beat him. You were the senator from Pennsylvania. But I'm wondering what you think of his effort and the government's effort to clean up fraud in these states.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a good thing overall. Absolutely. I mean, rooting out all the fraud, that should be absolutely bipartisan. I don't care if it's in a red state, blue state, wherever that is, root it out. I mean, that's all American taxpayer money. And the more money that you can root out in fraud, that means you can provide more resources for the vulnerable Americans that really actually use that service right now. Absolutely. That should be 100% kind of support thing, regardless of the party.
Absolutely. Another thing that is befuddling me, really, is I was reading this Punchbowl article, and it's about Democrats, some congressional, many of whom probably would love to be a senator rather than a congressman, coming around and not saying whether they will support you in your bid for re-election, potentially in 2028. But I saw this Pew poll, and it was in a great article written about you by Celine Zito in the Washington Post. And this Pew poll said that 67% of Republicans, 72% of Democrats said that their parties should be accepting of members who agree with the other side on some issues. So I'm wondering if you see a disconnect between maybe Democrat elected officials and what Democrat voters are actually saying, you as a maverick who really just calls the shots as you see them.
Well, I mean, for example, I'm going to follow what I think is the moral clarity, or that's the right side of history. Upcoming week, there's going to be about 60 days for epic fury. I'll remain to be the only Democrat to fully support this. Now, I know that it's very, very toxic as a Democrat to support that, because that's also married to Trump. That's a double stack of very difficult as a Democrat to support it. I've seen the polls. It's about 4% of Democrats support that. But I'm proud to support what's the right thing, and that's where I'm going to remain. I'm going to tell my constituents in Pennsylvania that, hey, I am a Democrat, but I think that doesn't mean that the other side is always wrong, or that they're terrible people, or they're trying to destroy our democracy, because they're your neighbors, they're your friends, they're your family members as well too. So that's where I'm at. I would rather be truthful and be on the right side, especially something like Iran and Israel. That's much, much more important than my career and my standing with my colleagues in the House, definitely.
Senator, when I look at your voting record, you and I are very much opposites. I mean, I'm a pro-life conservative. You vote like a Democrat. I mean, all the way down. I was looking this week. And then I look at people like Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who he used to support closing the border. He used to support Republican nominees on the other side of the aisle. I know it's changed. Partisan politics has changed that on both sides. But it seems to me that you are the same kind of Democrat that existed 10 years ago, but the party has taken a different direction. Maybe you could say the same of the Republican Party. I don't know. But do you feel you have remained in this line, and maybe Schumer and others have gone in a different direction?
Well, what I'm saying is that the Democratic Party is definitely changing. Well, when I was asked what's the leader in the party, I've said, that's easy. That's the TDS. Absolutely. Our beliefs are going the exact opposite of what Trump really supports for this things. And now, for example, like the Democrats love the New York Times, and now the New York Times love Hassan Piker, and Hassan Piker loves Hamas. I mean, they just platform him all the time. And now they're celebrating, shoplifting, and even here saying, well, maybe they have a point to gun innocent COOs down in cold blood. So that's kinds of the parts of bizarre mutation and beliefs within my party. Israel, now that's very, very punishing as a Democrat to stand with Israel now. I'm never going to betray Israel. 80% of Democrats view Israel in a negative light. So that's that, for me, the problem isn't with me. I think the problem is with me that that part of the party's just turning their back on the moral clarities.
You know, when I look back in your big 2022 victory, I was looking at some of the numbers. I mean, you absolutely smoked through the primary. I believe you won by 30%. It was an enormous victory. Then you move forward to the general. You win that. Democrats have this big pickup in Pennsylvania. They haven't had much success in the Senate after your election from 2022 on. But as we approach the midterms, has anyone come to you, the DNC, anyone saying, like, how do we fix this? How do we recreate what you've done? Or is TDS just that controlling of an ideology?
All I know is I can be just one voice and be a voice of reason and standing with the things that all Democrats should, like secure a border, deport all the criminals, stand with Israel, critical ally. And now remind everybody, every single Democrat has said, you know, Iran can never have a nuclear bomb. Here we are now, we're at the cusp. Why are we able to just walk away from that? A lot of Democrats, you know, like, well, that could be a win for Netanyahu or Trump. So like, I'm proud to be on the right side. And now I know that's very, very, very toxic as a Democrat to do that. That shouldn't have been toxic for a Democrat. In fact, that used to be a lot of things that our Democrats happen to believe.
Yeah, I think you have a key attribute in politics that is hard to find. It's authenticity. I encourage everyone to read that piece by Selena Zito. I enjoyed reading about how you enjoy a hot dog, your big glass of water, your cucumbers, and I even saw in Braddock someone has a flag that says Fetterman for president. So I look forward to following your career, Senator Fetterman.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.